I love Shape of Water. I'm a huge fan of Guillermo del Toro, as we know, and I know that some people think that means that I just give him a free pass because I love his films. But I really love Shape of Water, and the reason is sort of fairly simple but complicated. On the one hand, Pan's Labyrinth for me is the best movie of the 21st century. I think it's the very best thing that cinema has produced this side of the turn of the century, because it's a fantastic fable that has its feet on the ground and is talking about a very specific political situation, the aftermath of the Spanish Civil War, the rise of fascism. So there's that story going on. And the other story is about a girl descending into a fantasy world which is every bit as real as the world, in which all this sort of horror is going on. The Shape of Water is that most remarkable thing, which is a film which takes Guillermo del Toro's brilliant obsession with fairy tale and fantasy and a way of dealing with the fantastical in a way that is real, and making it unbelievably universal in its appeal. So on the one hand, I think it's his most personal English language movie. And on the other hand, I think it's astonishing that a movie that is essentially telling the story that it does tell about, a voiceless young woman who falls in love with an amphibious creature during the Cold War and sets about, wanting to free it because she sees a kindred spirit in it, that somehow that has become like the most, acceptable story imaginable. It clearly owes a debt to Splash. I mean, it is to some extent. It's Splash meets the creature from the Black Lagoon, which is lovely because I love Splash and I love the creature from the Black Lagoon. I think the way in which it melds all these different genres. On the one hand, it's a fantasy. On the other hand, it's a Cold War fable. On the other hand, it has the whole film is waiting to burst into song, and then it does. You have these song and dance sequences, which is so immaculate. Doug Jones's beautifully sinewy physical performance, and
he's the monster, is he?
He's the amphibious man. And of course, because the thing at the beginning of the story, we hear a voiceover which says, this is a tale of love and loss and the monster who tried to destroy it all. And of course, the amphibious man is not the monster. The monster is another character who is very, very human. And this is very Guillermo, because Guillermo has always sort of loved the creature and has always felt. He said that when he was making Blade 2, he said to Wesley Snipes, the thing is, if it was me, I'd just let all the vampires live because I like the vampires. So I thought it was beautiful and enchanting. Sally Hawkins was wonderful. Alexandre Desplat's score is just sweeping and surging. The design is fantastic. I just fell in love with it. Drink deep of the plasma. What is it? Drink deep or taste not of the plasma pool. I dived deep into its plasma pool and I loved it.
Okay, yeah, we get that.